Leadership training and progressing throughout the ranks in business has always been a training module that a lot of employers and people look to advance their careers. I've invited Ron Morris, coach with leadership training, to talk a little bit about our past and what he's doing now. So Ron, thank you for coming down and making time today.
Thank you, Randy.
Let's talk a little bit just for the benefit of the audience. I mean, I've known you for over 30 some years, I think.
A long time.
But we met through the Dale Carnegie
Yes.
training program, and you've kind of launched in your career and done further things in that leadership mode. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you branched out into.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a little bit of history first, if I may.
Yeah.
I started in the training industry in 1994. I bought a distributorship, and we were bringing speakers in, the likes of Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn, Dan Kennedy, Mark Victor Hansen, the Chicken Soup for the Soul
Yes.
gentlemen. And as it turns out, have you ever heard the term, "a fool and his money are soon parted"? Well, that was me. There was not a ton of value in the distributorship, so I ended up doing a lot of training myself. The first year I brought other speakers in. That was my business by that time, totally, not a distributorship. And year number 3, I started training myself, so that I was actually making a little bit of money. And I grew it from there. That was 94. In 2003, I quit being a sole proprietor, and I got into a partnership, and we grew the company there from Ron Morris Seminars, as it was originally, to Morris Interactive. I sold my shares just, little over 3 years ago now, and I thought I had a little bit too much gas in the tank to retire fully, so I discovered John Maxwell. John C. Maxwell, who is a leadership guru, and I got licensed with John. I've been following him and using his material for, over 20 years now. But I took the plunge and got licensed. Went to Orlando for certification in August, and so now I'm a certified leadership coach.
You've done this for a while, and I've watched you grow and quite a following, I might add, and very successful. So when you talk about John Maxwell, you mentioned Tony Robbins, and there were others. What sets Maxwell apart from some of those others?
And this is one man's opinion only.
Sure.
And I looked at a lot of options. I looked at Brian Tracy's courses, and I looked at Tony Robbins' courses. The reason that Maxwell appeals to me is that he's every man. You know, he's not. There's not the big ego. It's common sense. It's things again that I've been doing for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And he's a man of integrity. He was able to win the American Management Association Leader of the Year Award in 2014. He's won numerous awards. He was the Mother Teresa humanitarian recipient just a couple of years ago. So he's a man of some substance and some quality. I also found that he had just so much material that I can make use of that I would spend hours and hours building. You know, in the training world, they say you have to spend 40 hours to build an hour of training. Well, this is all John's thoughts, and it's all things that I can access and massage and use myself. So it was actually a no-brainer for me to become a Maxwell team member. Mm-hmm.
So Maxwell, and now there's the Mastermind. What is that, and tell us about that?
Well, and if people ask, if they're going to ask us if we're going to train them, we would. But I believe, a better way. I really compare it to the difference between being, I don't know, microwaved or slow cooked. You know, with training programs, we come in and we dip you in this burning vat of knowledge for a day, and then we're gone. With the Masterminds, it's a longer duration. We get a little bit deeper with people, to the degree that they'll feel comfortable, of course. Mm-hmm. But we get a lot deeper. Our courses, and it depends on the course. They run anywhere from a 10-week duration to a 15-week duration. And a Mastermind it's basically a gathering of like-minded people that will study a specific piece of literature by a specific author. And in our case, since Maxwell has written just about 80 books now on leadership and communication, I don't see us running out of material anytime soon.
I will make mention of you being an author as well with The Power of Wow, and that was a number of years ago. But in terms of taking all of that information and condensing it into a book to study, what are people telling you about what they're learning? Are they taking away any nuggets from that?
Great question. Yes, absolutely. We've had one group now that started with us, probably April of last year, They're now on their third book. They don't want to quit. We basically we look at areas like we start with self-awareness. So you're not going to grow yourself until you know who you are. So we start with self-awareness. We try to help people build their character. As you know, Randy, and you're a person of great character. If you don't have character, you don't have much. We talk about specific skills that they can use: communication skills, listening skills. We talk about how to better relationships. And Maxwell got his start as a pastor, so there is certainly an element of spirituality about it. So that's what it's about. We gather with the masterminds, usually in one of two venues. We go to the beautifully appointed Saskatoon Club, and we do some of our sessions at the Ideas Inc. boardroom. So we have 4 groups on the go right now, and like I say, the growth in people from beginning to end is really gratifying for me.
I think that's one of the yardsticks that when we look back and you see someone who enters into any program like that, there's always a personal level. In terms of an employer looking at someone who thinks that they would recommend someone versus me individually looking at that, do you take any recommendations or do you work with an employer of a larger company to say we'll do 5 employees and we'll target a training module for them, or just kind of shift it to accommodate whatever field they're working in?
Yes, we can tailor the information to their desires. We can pick and choose and mix and match any variety of things. The one thing I found from training as opposed to coaching, and I would classify this as coaching, is that oftentimes if you're in front of a room and you're training, you might have 20 people in the room and there are 15 that don't want to be there. I call them prisoners. However, I found with coaching, it's always been people that do want to be there. And when I go to a corporation, I ask that, give me your better people. Give me the top of the top, if you will. There's no point investing money with people that A, don't get it, and B, don't want to get it. So I'm a firm believer in spending your best time and your best investment on your best people. And that's what I've been finding so far. The people that have come have been just lights out. They've been really, really thirsty for knowledge and willing to share. And it's been very gratifying.
It has to come from within. I think that's one of the more gratifying things that I've found in taking any of these courses with you. When we look at someone who's going to look at personal development,
Yes.
What would they look at as a takeaway from any one thing? Is there something that you can say to them, you're going to be with us for 10 or 15 weeks and we're going to focus on, first of all, you, and as we teach you and coach you in some things, here's what kind of a person and results you can look for at the end of that coaching session. What would that be?
Well, it's going to vary from person to person. Some of the things that some people come to us and say, I'm really lacking in self-confidence. Well, we're going to study the law of the mirror, which says that, to add value to yourself, you have to trust in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. So we'll talk about that. There are other people that are not good communicators. So it's every chapter, it can stand alone. It's a book study is what it is. I mean, for lack of a better term, that we can say that they're just you and me, right?
Right.
This won't be on TV.
No.
Okay. All right. It's the study of a book, and there are 10 or 15 different chapters, or 21 with one of our courses that we shorten up over a fewer weeks. The chapters all stand alone, but they're oftentimes intermingled. So you'll take away different things. You'll take away the fact that there's not enough positive stress in my life. You'll take away the fact that perhaps if I was a somewhat better leader, I would have better results at work. You'll take away the things, if I use my positive influence more, then I would have more success at work, in the community, at church, in my sports team. Mm-hmm.
So this just isn't about going to a course for 10 weeks and coming out thinking I'm going to be a great salesman. This is about personal development, working as a team member, and even life at home as a dad and maybe husband or...
Yes, it works in every facet of your life. And I'm someone who I do believe in goal setting. This is not necessarily about goal setting. We will talk about goal setting. It's more about personal growth, because if you set a goal, the first question you ask is, how quickly do I get there? If you're trying to grow yourself, the question more usually is, how far can I go? So we're about going as far as what we possibly can. There's a story in one of the books of Teddy Roosevelt, who, when he died, they found in his bed he was still reading a self-development book. So Teddy Roosevelt wanted to grow until the end.
That's a very notable comment, because if the common, I guess, perception is that if you're younger, you'd want to be taking some of these. But what about just some frequency adjustments? We always talk about sharpening the axe.
Yes.
For mid-level managers or someone wanting to advance their careers and just grow their own personal self-worth and so on, is that something that you can encourage, or how would we tap into those people?
Well, certainly. I mean, ideally, that could be done inside a corporation organization, whereby you can also build a sense of team. But more of our work is done with individuals, just like that, who want to grow their skill set. And the interesting thing is, or I think it's an interesting thing, is we have in our groups now, we have 4 masterminds on the go right now, and we have anyone in that group from housewives and house husbands to community leaders to spiritual leaders. It fits everyone, right? And people are heard and respected equally. I mean, one of the things that I like to stress is the knowledge, what you gain. I mean, certainly we come with predetermined questions. My partner and I'll talk about her in just a second. But the learning and the true leadership in that room comes from the group. It doesn't come from a couple of talking heads in the room. It comes from people that share their values, their life experiences, anything that can garner attention. And just if I could, I don't work alone. I have a wonderful partner, a lady by the name of Aisna Gronewald. Can you say Aisna Gronewald quickly 4 times?
No, I can't.
No, that's okay. And Aisna comes from a little bit different place than I, so I think we complement each other. You know, we're oftentimes together in the same room, but sometimes then one of us will take a night off or day off and go elsewhere.
Sure.
But it's
And
nice
if people
to have that
did want
feedback.
to get signed up with the Mastermind, how would they get a hold of you or Aisna?
Yeah, the best bet would be through the website, which is www.liftleadership.coach. My cell number is 306-229-6443. You can catch Aisna at a much easier number, 306-716-5678. Or I'm at Ron at liftleadership.coach.
I think we're on our way. I appreciate you making time today, Ron.
I really appreciate the chance to see you again, Randy. I remember you when we were both a little smaller. Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back.